Welcome to the Kamber Commentary 2820 Inside Edition. I'm Ernie Brother. Let's spend the next few minutes looking at one biblical truth that can help us think biblically, live faithfully, and follow Christ more closely. Here's today's insight. It's titled Pride, Two Sides, Look at Me, and Don't Look at Me. Pride is usually easy to recognize when it walks into the room very loudly. It says, look at me, listen to me, notice what I've done, recognize how important I am. But pride does not always walk into the room with its chest stuck out. Sometimes pride walks in looking at the floor. Sometimes pride says, please don't look at me. And strangely enough, both can come from the same place, an excessive concern with self. One person steps in front of a crowd because he desperately wants to be seen. Another person refuses to step in front of a crowd because he's terrified of being seen. One thinks, I want everybody to look at me, while the other thinks, well, what if everybody is looking at me? They appear to be complete opposites, but sometimes they are two sides of the same problem, me. Philippians chapter 2, verses 3 and 4 says, do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others. Biblical humility does not mean believing that you are worthless. Humility means that you are no longer the center of the equation. That becomes especially obvious when we think about public speaking. One of the most common fears people have standing in front of other people. We think, what if I forget what I'm going to say? What if I sound foolish? What if I make a mistake? What if they don't like me? What will they think about me? Notice the repeated word, me. Now, fear itself is not automatically pride. Some people are naturally shy, some lack experience, some have legitimate anxiety, and being comfortable in front of people does not automatically make someone prideful either. The real question is, what is controlling my heart? Because fear can become pride when protecting my reputation becomes more important than obeying God or serving other people. That is why embarrassment can sometimes be disguised as a form of pride. Embarrassment says, I cannot stand in front of the people or the thought of people seeing me fail. Perfectionism can do the same thing. Excellence says, I want to give God my best. Perfectionism says, I cannot allow anybody to see me make a mistake. There's a huge difference, and people-pleasing can be another hidden form of pride. In Galatians chapter 1, verse 10, it asks, for am I now seeking the approval of man or of God? People-pleasing can sound humble. I just don't want upset. I don't want anybody to be upset with me. But underneath it, it may be, I need everybody to think well of me. That is still a life centered around reputation. Then there's false humility. Oh, I could never do that. Nobody wants to hear from me. I don't have anything worth saying. Sometimes that is sincere modesty, but sometimes it really means, if I cannot do it well enough to protect my image, I would rather not do it at all. Pride can make one person grab the microphone, and pride can make another person refuse the microphone. Humility does something completely different. Humility asks, what does God want? If he wants me to speak, I speak. If he wants me to be silent, I remain silent. If he puts me in front, I'll stand in front. If he puts me behind the scenes, I serve behind the scenes. My reputation is no longer the deciding factor. My obedience is. Jesus gives us the ultimate picture. Philippians chapter 2, verse 8 says, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross. Notice what biblical humility ultimately produced: obedience. Humility is not shyness. Humility is not weakness. Humility is not thinking poorly about yourself. Humility is submission to God. So here's the question. Are you refusing something God is calling you to do because you are afraid of what people will think? Are you doing something because you desperately want people to notice you? Those may seem like opposite problems. They may not be, because pride can say, look at me, and pride can also say, don't look at me. But humility says, Lord, whether they look at me or not, I belong to you. Now, as part of the Load and Make Ready, we know what the LOAD acronym is: learn, obey, apply, and disciple. Well, we're starting on the ready side finally. So ready is respond, endure, arm, discern, yield. So respond when God calls. Endure the discomfort. Arm yourself with the truth. Discern whether your fear is wisdom or simply protecting your image. Yield your reputation to God. And remember this: pride asks, "What will they think of me?" Humility asks, "What does God require of me?" Remember, salvation is free, discipleship is costly, load to grow, and ready to go. God bless you, and thank you for listening.